there. We're waiting for a couple of more results. Viperian crossing the line and going for pole. 158.242. That's something you don't see every day. Viperian is currently on pole. And when with Guns and Gemini not improving, he might stay there. Unless something is really wrong with the table, which we're definitely gonna see in about half a minute. We got a Porsche crossing the line, though it's not shown on the board, so maybe, just maybe, it wasn't a good time. Currently just waiting for the actual results to come in before I can confirm anything. Knowing a Assetto Corsa, something might go wrong at the last possible minute. So the overtime timer is currently on. Let's see if anybody is on a fast lap at the end. Trampel. Okay, Salcido is done. Trampel seems to be at the end of his lap, which is what we were waiting for. Or who we were waiting for. Let's see if he sets the time on the timing board right now. He seems to not set a time. So let's see, we're waiting for further confirmation, but it looks like Viperian does indeed have a pole. Followed by McLaren Team, Maestro, Gemini, Gunsters, Neon Tiger, Trampel, and Saltcedar. Looks like we have 8 cars ready to go. And the Kiwi is on pole. Well, we do have an interesting story regarding that, but oh boy. That is something you don't see every day, and that's something interesting we're starting our weekend with. That is definitely interesting, to say the least. And something we are not used to. And something well, Viperian would not be used to, which is interesting for the race start. We got rolling start, and Viperian in his Mercedes will control the start this time around. So this is gonna be interesting for him as well, to see if he is ready to take the field. He's gonna be on the inside line. So definitely gonna be interesting to see how he manages to stave off the competition from McLaren Tim alongside him at the start. So right now we do have start lights. Once again, we do have rolling start in Phoenix World Championship, so nothing serious is gonna go on when the lights extinguish. The leader kinda goes, but we're waiting for the pace car to just casually stroll around the back and pick up the leader. And our Mercedes has no safety car is off for the warm-up lap, as our 8-car grid is roaring to go. So 20-minute race for the first sprint event, no mandatory pit stop. So the drivers will just go like hell for what feels like forever for the leader, but feels like one lap for everybody chasing him. But in reality, just 20 minutes plus 1 lap at the end. 8 drivers and I believe 4 different makers? I think so. Yes, we do have a Mercedes and a Lamborghini on pole. The second row should be... That's an Audi and a Ferrari. That makes it 5. Because we do have an Audi and a Mercedes on row 3, and row 4 is going to be all Porsche. So a decent distribution of various classes. Represent on the relatively small grid today. As the drivers are navigating a relatively long circuit, going into the kink and approaching Canada corner. So we're gonna go too wide right about here, as the cars are gonna be instructed to slow down and prepare. For the rolling start for this race. Lots of angry colors on the cars and a red color on the safety car, which means it should pull into the pit lane any moment now and let the roaring field of GT3 Plus cars go, led by Viperian from New Zealand. The car peels off onto the pit lane and we are awaiting start. It's a little bit of a long straight, so we're waiting. Still waiting. And green, green, green! Viperian accelerates on the start-finish line. McLaren team dives to the inside right behind him to maybe stay in the draft and stay clear of the competition on the outside. The Ferrari is trying to challenge him. No luck just yet. The entire field seems to be clear. We do have two wide. Gunzes on the inside of Neon Tiger and completes the pass for the 5th, I believe. And now there is a little bit of a gaggle as we are going on the straight towards turn number 5. A first hard downhill braking zone for everyone. We're gonna be watching the leaders. How do they navigate that? Oh, that's a hard move for McLaren team, who barely avoids the back of Viperian. Behind we do see a battle brewing. That's Gunzes a little bit too wide. Neon Tiger tries to use that and gets the position. Now he's through to 5th. And Gunzes falls down to 6th. A little bit of a grass mowing move there, as he's being chased down by two Porsches. The leader a little bit too wide. That Mercedes is definitely not built for corners, more of a straight line speed car. So he will struggle in the carousel, in the kink, and on the approach to Canada corner, which might be the blessing for McLaren team to try to stay within the striking distance. He himself always having a moment, barely staying on the throttle and on the track, being chased by a Ferrari of Gemini, who is one of the leaders in the overall championship right now. Viperian managing to stay ahead for this turn and for almost for the entire lap, but McLaren team is hot on his tail and looking to make a pass. There's going to be a lot of downforce here. Oh, but not a good exit. Team made a mistake, went sideways on the exit, and now he is under fire from a Ferrari and a chasing Audi of Master. We are gonna go 3 wide maybe, and no. Smartly, McLaren team just does not leave any space between himself and a Ferrari of Gemini, refusing any and all invitation from Maestro Ponchik. 2 wide. McLaren team stays ahead, and Maestro is trying to squeeze on the inside as well. They're going side by side with the Ferrari of Gemini for 3rd place. We're going towards turn 5. That's going to be a battle into the braking zone between 037 and 9. Ferrari slots back, not looking for a move just yet. Meanwhile, behind, Gunzes tries to sail it down the inside and makes it stick into turn 5, getting his position back. Good, brave move from the Latvian. Meanwhile, Viperian is managing to get some pace into his car and break clear from McLaren team. Now a second gap. Viperian is still in the lead, but McLaren team is not one to give up just yet. As we move further up, the back seems to be stretching out a little bit among themselves. Though McLaren team refuses to let the Kiwi go. It might be a one race wonder, but the American does not want to let any points slip. So he is trying his best to stay in the battle and stay ahead. He is currently what seems like 49 points clear of the second place of Gemini. So in the championship it's not as close as it could have been. But still, with Ferrari hot in the heels, any lost points could cost Team valuable positions, especially since he did not win the pole. So that's another point slipped through his fingers. And with a drop week looming large, which would be more costly for McLaren team than Gemini at this point, since the second round was disastrous for a Ferrari. You know that this championship is far from over at this point, so he has to push, and he has to push hard. The 71 is trying to do just that, refusing to let the Mercedes of 05 go. 5 minutes into the race, Trampel has finally caught up to Neon Tiger. That's half a second between them. That's the first sighting of Porsche on our screens for today. The McLaren-sponsored McLaren-sponsored Porsche would be rather interesting, but no, the McDonald's-sponsored Porsche is trying to chase down McLaren team's teammate Neon Tiger. The American team is performing rather well in the championship, find themselves in the third spot behind the PRT Rocket Ballista team, who's currently occupying third and fifth spots, and our championship leaders, Total Downforce Racing, currently represented by Gemini alone. That Ferrari has been rather rapid throughout the championship, and actually it has received a somewhat of a balance of performance tweak before this round. From what we can hear, it has been in relation of a turbo package it has, and the turbo settings. So now it is less punchy on the throttle, which could hamper a car on well, high speed, high acceleration tracks, which is what Road America is, with its long and fast straights. So we might see the effect of BOP right here, as Gemini is struggling to get out of his fourth place right now. Up for the lead, the battle continues, and looks like the leaders kinda settle in for a long road for their pace and just waiting for a mistake from each other. Top four all within a second from each other. Guns is just over a second back, and then another 2 seconds behind is Neon Tiger. So the entire pack, probably for the first time in this series, is very close together, and a mistake from a leader might see them drop all the way down to last place. So to avoid commentator's curse, I'm gonna talk more about McLaren team instead. So our championship leader missed the support race once again, which he's a part of the team called Mad Motorsport, between the Russian and the American, and that team swept the round clean by yours truly, and I will brag about that for as long as I can before I get cut off from the microphone and dragged away from my booth. The pole position and the win from both races being challenged by the car that that was driven by Neon Tiger, another participant in this race. With wonderful competition once again throughout. And, well, McLaren team decided to not take part of this race to save some strength for the main event, for the main championship. So he has fresh hands, fresh mind, and, well, still trying to gain the lead. Now he's being challenged by Maestro though, so not the best of laps for the Lamborghini. Meanwhile, it looks like we're seeing some battling for the 6th spot. Neon Tiger gained his place back, so some shenanigans into turn 1 abound. We have to switch to this though, because Maestro is trying to put a pressure on the leading duo. Definitely interesting to see how this story will develop, as the entire top 4 decided to just stick together for what seems like forever. We might have a pass for the lead. McLaren team sends it down the inside, but no. Apologies. Pulls out of a move at the last moment and stays behind for the carousel. Which might open them up for the cars behind. You can definitely see them eyeing the Lamborghini, but because they're all stacked together, that's now Maestro under fire from a Ferrari, because he had to pull out for a tiny little bit. So definitely, as I've said, one mistake can see you fall down the order swiftly. And, well, quite thoroughly. At least to 4th place, any tiny mistake. So now watching the battle for the lead. The battle pack continues on, 10 minutes through. You see another mistake from car number 71, McLaren team out of the last corner. Seems to be just unhappy with this car. Looks like we do have ourselves a battle into turn 1. McLaren team reigns supreme. Maestro Ponchik decides to pull out of a move completely, and that whole battle helped Viperian to gain himself some gap. He's now 1 second clear into turn 5, which is not a good overtaking zone. So, whatever was the battle for second, definitely helped the leader. Okay, now we're gonna properly switch to onboard from McLaren team, our 2nd place car, to see what they're trying to do, how they're trying to operate the car, and what might be the issue that prevents him from chasing down the Kiwi. You see the car is set up incredibly loose. That steering wheel is going left, right, and all around in hard corners. So he's trying to catch the car as he's accelerating. Might be making him quicker, but might be making him a little bit more loose, which we've seen a couple of times in the last corner already. 1 second gap between him and Viperian, 1 second gap between Maestro and Tim as well, who is now hot on the heels, is the Ferrari of Gemini. You can see the difference in sound. A little bit more guttural for the Lamborghini, a little bit more timid by the Ferrari, but the entire Ferrari is anything but timid right now, and it's being wheeled by one of the fastest drivers in the league, trying to catch up with the leading bunch. Not having the best of laps here. You can see almost 1.5 seconds down on his personal best. So he'll need to get going as they cross the start-finish line. We're switching to McLaren team. Let's see what he does into turn 1. Another good point of contention is that fast corner and how the car is set up. He's gingerly trying to wheel his car over the curb, which is kind of an interesting development, as now we have a battle between 2 McDonald's cars. A couple mistakes by Trempale, and now Saltseeder finds himself in front. Trempale was he trying to move into turn 3? That's a move I would never do, considering the turn 5 is coming up. And speaking of turn 5, wow, Gemini completely misses turn 5, annihilates his brakes, and now finds himself behind the other Audi. Gunz squeaks through to P4, Gemini with a miserable braking zone and into P number 5. So the Ferrari is not having a good time. With just 6 minutes to go, if he wants to get some good points, he'll need to get his ass in gear and get going. He has 2 Rocket Ballista cars in front of him, and both of them are likely to run interference and just help each other. Trempale finally gets back ahead of his teammate. He was faster early in the race, but looks like his pace dropped off the cliff a little bit. An issue for Gemini. Oh, the car is in the wall. The Ferrari is in the wall and off the track. And it looks like it's a retirement for car number 9. We're not sure what happened, but when we turned back, the 9 was thoroughly in the wall, and we do have an overtake for the lead meanwhile. And a repass, so something happened in the last turn, which made us trigger the position swap graphic, but it looks like Viperian is back in the lead, but McLaren team is back in the hunt. 3 tenths left between the leaders, as absolutely everyone and their mother ignores the track limits into turn 1 in the battle for the lead. So as our resident steward is too busy driving the car off the track, we might have a replacement steward to look at this peak performance of the GT3 Plus machines. As we do have the battle for the lead continuing, McLaren team driving on the grass, which might be suboptimal, but what do we know? We're not in the second place in this race, but he is. So that might be the superior strategy with 4 minutes to go. The gaps came down while we were looking at the stranded Ferrari. And another excursion off the track for both leaders, but Viperian comes out better as Maestro is now hot on the heels of McLaren team, who had a little bit of a struggle into the previous turn and onto the carousel. Through the kink they go, approaching Canada corner. McLaren team going a little bit to the right, a little bit of a defensive stance for the Lamborghini, just denying any invitation the Russian might have, and he is wide and off the track with a little bit of a wobble into Canada corner. So everybody's struggling. The longer race is yet to come, which means if it's the tires and not the drivers, we might have some juicy strategies with the tires coming off the cliff that early. With just 7 cars, we still have essentially a 4-car battle for the lead, with Gemini dropping off of that battle. Meanwhile, behind we do have Neon Tiger, Trampale and South Cedar a little bit more spread out, as they're having their, well, own mistakes really. But the leading pack is still tight as ever. Just under 3 minutes plus 1 lap. As they just started the lap, we're looking at 3 probably laps to go. 0:37, hard in the draft, defensive move from McLaren team, who's squeezing back hard. I'm not sure that was a good move. Once again, that's something for the stewards to look into. But so far, he maintains his position in the second place. The race continues. Once again, the battle for second place helps the leader drive away. I'm not sure this is a good tactic from the Rocket Ballista Audi. If they want to catch it past the leader, they might want to work with McLaren team right now, but as they cross the laps off the clock, that might no longer be an option. Them squabbling amongst themselves might have given Viperian the lead and left 0:37 and 71 to their own battle. Still 0.8 between them. And 1.5 minutes to go. They will definitely get time to cross the line here, so they're gonna have 2 more laps to go at the line. 2 more laps to hang on to by Viperian, and 2 laps for everybody else to sort themselves out and make a pass. Once again, Maestro is really close to McLaren team and eyeing him for a move. You see that draft working, McLaren team on the defensive. We do have a yellow flag. That's South Cedar off the track, continues on. Trampel was off the road as well. We do have a battle back into turn 1 and turn 3. McLaren team on preferable line on the inside. Will he be able to close the line off? He does, very hard, very aggressive once again. A very on the limit defensive move from Lamborghini. 2 teammates are now approaching each other in the battle into turn 5. We might have a 3 wide here. No. Gunsis pulls out, tries the inside, just having a look, trying to psych out the Lamborghini. Ascend from 0:37 on the inside now. A good exit of a turn. And he might be able to get by. They're still side by side. McLaren team very sideways, and he led 037 by. He slots in front of a 000, and now he finds himself in third place. The timer is about to run out, very wide out of a corner by 037. Everybody's still in the draft pocket. It's not done until it's done. Trempel is in the pits, and looks like it's a second retirement of this race. With the clock striking 0, the Porsche might turn into a pumpkin while we are looking at the battle at the front. Viperian 2.2 seconds clear, and I'm not saying anything just yet, so if something happens, he cannot touch me in any way, shape or form. And looks like Gunses is off the track as well, as he loses that battle, and we might have a 2-horse race for the second place as we go onto the white flag of the race. Viperian takes the white flag as the leader, 1.5 behind his Maestro, 0.8 back McLaren team, 1.8 to Gunses, 2.7 from Neon Tiger. Everybody else is way too far back for the battle. Lap number 12, McLaren team is struggling to keep up with the Audi. A little bit of restrictor never hurts, but it might hurt McLaren team right here, as he is not able to keep up the pace. And luckily for him, Gunz has made a mistake, so he is a little bit too far back now, even though he's closing in. So everybody's strung out a little bit after that exciting penultimate lap. Though nobody is protected from a driving mistake on the last lap. The brakes are glowing, the cars are sideways, and the battle is not over. We're looking at the onboard of McLaren team. The Lamborghini with the American at the wheel is trying his best to catch up. It's less than a second, but a little bit too far, I think, without a mistake from Maestro. And there's the mistake from Maestro. He's a little bit sideways coming out of a turn. That gifted Tim a few tenths. Still a bit too far, but closer than it was. So now it's maximum scent for the Lamborghini. The final lap of a race, the final few corners, into the kink they go. Absolutely committing, 0.5 back into the Canada corner. He'll have to drive in hard and have to exit even harder. He exits the turn, 0.5 of a second back. That's 0.6 with one corner to go. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Master is gonna hold on. But the most important story of the day, with an absolutely flawless race, the Mercedes 05 from Viperian is the winner of Race 1 at Road America. The Kiwi claims his first win of Phoenix World Championship. Beautiful effort, absolutely flawless. And from the pole, giving the middle finger for every competitor behind him. The Kiwi is doing a well-deserved set of donuts at the end of a race. Maestro finishes second. McLaren team rounds out the podium. Gunses ends up in fourth. Neon Tiger in sixth. Salt City is set to take sixth position, with Trempel in the pits in seventh. And the only official retirement of race 1 would be Gem Knight in 8th place. That was a beautiful race despite a very small field, and we're gonna have one more for you today with a 40-minute clock this time around. So don't go anywhere, as we're gonna be back after these messages.
Marco Bittman is out onto the runoff area.
Go fully into my car.
Keep going.
So this is extraordinary.
This is DTM, proper racing.
Bumps and shows for elephants.
当中的摩纳哥大奖赛。
Hi, I'm Norman Mitchell, standing here in front of BBC Wellness Center in Houston, Texas.
Mid-County area is where we're going. Port Arthur, Nederland, Port Neches.
We're in Canovanas, the shelter here in Puerto Rico.
We're here at Jardín Pushkin in Colonia Roma.
The hallmark of disasters is you have to do what you do, you just have to do more of it faster. 2017 has seen more large-scale emergencies in sequence than ever before in direct relief 70-year history. The people who know the most, have the most at stake, are going to do the best job with the resources they have are the ones who live there.
Just received a large shipment of critical medicine from Direct Relief.
Some gauze, some bandages for people that are managing the response and rescue efforts.
You're standing strong, united with every other organization providing primary care and critical access to those individuals who have been most impacted.
Does it improve the lives of people? That's the true measure of any technology or any new investment. And you hope to God that basic core human element is never lost, no matter how technologically advanced we get as people. So the human case has always been strong for what direct relief does. People who are poor or stuck in these terrible circumstances need help. That basic idea to listen, not impose, to be respectful and not arrogant is still as valid as it was in 1948. Principles really don't change, and I think direct relief, fortunately, started with good ones of being open-minded, kind of big-hearted with respect to people's needs, and hard-headed when it comes to other people's money. When you look back and think direct relief has played a significant role in many of the signature humanitarian events over the past 70 years, the combination of those characteristics has served the organization well, and they're sort of timeless. You're surrounded by inspiration if you see it. I think anytime, if you've never done something, or you've done something at one scale, it's scary to think how you can do it at 10 times the scale. But at the end of the basic decision was pretty easy. Why would we not do this when the signals were all pointing in the right direction? The dedication of the building is really a rededication to the cause, to the idea, and a commemoration to the people whose generosity made it possible. What it represents is a much greater capability to help more people with tools that we have embedded in it, with the experience of 70 years. To bring those together in this building so we can do more in the same efficient way we've always tried to do it is really exciting. And we are sobered by the challenge, but deeply thankful for the opportunity to keep doing what Direct Relief has been doing for the past 70 years.
And we are back, and we are on the formation laps for the second race, with Viperian still leading the field after taking the pole and winning race 1. This time around a 40-minute lap with a bonus, 1 lap at the end, and a compulsory stop at one point of the race. The timer is ticking further down. We had an extra formation lap, but now we are ready to go. As the safety car is ready to pull off the track, with its lights extinguished right about now, and the leader is now controlling the pace and getting ready to start the second race. They're free to go from here to the start finish line. Viperian is waiting and going. Viperian with a clean start once again on the inside. This time around, McLaren team was supposed to start behind him, but he did not succeed in beating 037 to turn 1. So it looks like, for the time being, Maestro stays in P2. And looking all the way down the order, everybody is sort of line of stern. The one car we see fighting hard, that's a Ferrari of Gemini, being absolutely blocked by 2 Porsches. That's an that's an offensive team move by the duo, but that bites hard as one of them ends up behind. That's Trempel missing turn 5 after doing essentially a Danish truck roadblock, if you know, you know, in front of a Ferrari. But he missed the turn and rejoins in last place. One day the timing tower will come alive so we can show you what is going on, but for now, looks like it's a hard battle for the lead. That's Viperian and Maestro. Maestro trying on the outside. He'll have the inside on the approach to Canada corner. So that's a good spot for him to try and overtake. He's a bit early on the brakes, so Viperian is able to sweep around. He'll need to close that door, and he does. Maestro stays in second place. And now he's under fire from McLaren team. Will there be a send in the last turn? No, he thinks better of it. And we continue to fight at the start-finish line. The draft snake is being real. The hefty, chunky chungus of a Mercedes is definitely pulling away on the straights, which is rather interesting. The Audi is chasing him down, but even with the draft, unable to do anything about it right now. Definitely something we did not expect to see. Something we also did not expect to see is the timing tower not working. Not sure what the problem is here. We'll see if it comes back alive after a little reset. And let's actually try to do that. See if maybe something picks up. In any case, we continue with the race for now. Viperian is in the lead, followed by 037 of Maestro. A little bit of a gap back to McLaren team now, maybe half a second, not more. And behind them, Gunses is not having the time of his life, losing over a second already in the first 7 minutes. He's a little bit on his own. 2 more seconds behind his Neon Tiger, 2 more seconds behind his Trempel, 2 more seconds behind his Gem Knight, and 2 more seconds behind is Salt City. So everybody kinda line astern, except from this duo with Maestro putting all the pressure he can on the leader. Well, Viperian is officially a race winner, and with that, I'm not sure the pressure is as hard on him now. He can afford to take some liberties, he can afford to fight harder, and he can afford to bring it to the Audi behind him. Remember, everybody has to make a compulsory pit stop at any point of the race. Viperian with the fastest stop of the race, 59.3. So that says everything you wanted to hear about how he's handling pressure right now. Okay, let's see if we can do a further repair of our timing tower. Let's see if anything appears on our tower as of yet. I do have a technical monitor which does have accurate gaps and everything else, but unfortunately looks like our timing tower is not in a very working order for some reason or the other, for which I blame Kunos. In any case, I guess I'll have to verbally communicate the gaps a bit more frequently than usual, although you can quite firmly see the top 3 on your screen at any point, as they're all bunched together, the 3 teams, the 3 drivers, the 3 manufacturers here. The PRT Mercedes, sorry, the PRT Mercedes. I have never cared enough to figure out if it was a PRT Mercedes. Hang on a moment as I read the entry list. In fact, it is a PRT Blue Flag Mercedes. See, they're never in front, so it's hard to figure it out. Sorry. Followed by a PRT Audi, but those are different PRT teams, as Maestro with a little bit more creative lines there. So it's a PRT Blue Flag Mercedes, PRT Rocket Ballista Audi, and a Monterey Simsport Lamborghini in top 3. The gap after 10 minutes is kind of stabilizing, just under a second between each of them, and Gunses seems to be a couple seconds back from the battle pack, with another second or 2 to Neon. And looks like, let's see, looks like we do have a battle pack with Trempel hot on the heels of the second Lamborghini. We do have a Lamborghini Porsche battle coming into the second straight and turn 5. Oh, it's a hard move by 17. He pokes his nose in late and he makes the pass stick. I wasn't even commentating on that because I thought they were just gonna go line of stern and figure it out further, but looks like 17 just sent it down the inside and around Neon Tiger he goes. That's one hell of an aggressive move by the McDonald's Porsche, but hey, can't blame if it works out. And now he's back into 5th place. That was a very unexpected move, but welcome nonetheless. Back to the leading pack. As we go on board with that Audi, the 037, you can see the Lamborghini in his windows as well. Mirrors, rather. In his windows, you can see the Mercedes. as the trio continues. Oh, hello there, Timing Tower. Just 4 laps too late. We actually are able to see what's going on. What we're able to see is Gem Knight on the pit lane. And with some damage and a crooked wheel. So something happened to Gem Knight while we weren't looking. And now he's in the pits for his service and some damage repair. So that Ferrari was not exactly the healthiest car in the world. But he's the first one to make his compulsory stop and fixing the car in the process. Let's see where he rejoins with that. Definitely a round to forget, seems like, for Gem Knight. Though with a short grid, he might salvage some points for the drop week. The previous worst result he had was 44 points on a weekend. So if he even beats that, that's still gonna be a good result for the Ferrari. Neon Tiger and Trampel continue battling next to each other, and this trio is still glued together. 27 minutes left plus 1 lap. We're slowly approaching halfway point. Remember last time, we've seen a little bit of wiggling amongst everybody come the midpoint of, well, this race essentially, or the end of the sprint race. So if it was indeed the tires, it might be a very, very spicy end of a race. Maestro the 037 continues to use his creative lines, but it looks to be more hurting than helping. For the second time in a row, he's further from the Kiwi than he was before that turn, and now he finds himself under the attack of a Lamborghini. McLaren Tim finds the space on the inside as Viperian sets yet another fastest lap, driving away from that crazy bunch. But Lamborghini seems to not have the straight line speed the Audi has. Has to slot back and wait. Trampel now slowly building the gap to Neon Tiger, posting the 59.6, which would be the fourth fastest lap behind this trio. So he's slowly catching up to Gunsis, whose fastest lap was 59.7. Definitely more ground to cover, but it looks like Gem Knight is still in the pits. And now he's listed as DNF, and since he disconnected early, I believe that would be no points for this race for Gem Knight. A disaster for a Ferrari. DNF in race 1, DNF in race 2. And one of the title contenders is gonna have that week thrown straight into the garbage bin. The trio of leaders continues to fight amongst themselves. Though compared to first race, it's more settled down. There was an overtaking attempt from a Lamborghini of McLaren team, but it was mostly because of a mistake by Maestro rather than his own willingness to attack there. So they're all kind of holding the lines and waiting for, I guess, the pit cycle and the end of a race to make their moves. Probably a smart idea, as well, you probably ain't gonna win the race with 25 minutes to go with one boneheaded move, but you can definitely lose it. They are creating a gap to Gunsis by driving together in each other's draft, and now the first car to blink is Maestro. 25 minutes to go, and the car is on the pit lane. There is a 120 kilometers an hour speed limit at the pit entry line, so the drivers need to be very careful of where to speed and where to slow down, and that will be checked by the stewards of the course after the race. So post-race penalties are not particularly uncommon here. Maestro makes his stop. Salt City seems to be 30 seconds back, so let's see, here she comes right through, so I guess he had an issue somewhere with 201. For him to be classified that far back, he's 16 seconds off Neon Tiger. Something happened that we weren't able to pick up early in the race, as Maestro rejoins the track with a brand new set of tires. Now I wonder if McLaren Tim and Viperian decide to delay their stops to overcut. Remember that while Maestro warms up his tires, these guys are going full beans and gaining time. But once they pit, the opposite will happen. So the question now is, when those tires stop heating up and start producing better pace than that of a leader, this is when you want to pit, and this is when you want to maximize your on-track gap to make sure your tires are back in a working condition before you get caught. Alternatively, do these two feel they can outpace Maestro on pace alone and just stick together and work close to the end of a race? Nobody knows their strategies, but we are gonna find out in the next about 20 minutes. The leader stays on track, moves a little bit to the middle, but doesn't blink, and McLaren team prefers to stay put. Both leaders skip the pit entry road, as Trampel had a mistake somewhere. He is mighty slow and heading into the pits, so it was an issue in the penultimate corner of the track that McDonald's Porsche is slightly bent on the front left and rear left, it seems like. So something did happen to them, and now he is in the pits for his compulsory stop, and during which they'll try to beat out the panels and fix the car. Neon Tiger managed to get ahead before even 17 got into the pits, so it's definitely an outstanding problem for him. I believe Maestro is the one driving through right now. We're gonna stay on him to see if he's gonna be moving anytime soon. The gap was, what? 12 seconds to the leaders. He does get moving, so we're gonna switch back. So it looks like he got his car working again, and we'll see where he rejoins at the end of the cycle. The leaders continue. Viperian is not letting McLaren team anywhere close, maintaining the gap for half a race with 20 minutes to go. But don't forget, there is a pit cycle. The pit entry and pit exit, one of the most treacherous part, with a couple of laps on cold tires. McLaren team will be the more experienced driver regarding the rapid pace on cold and new rubber. So definitely interesting to see how this pans out. So far, they're still lapping together and skipping the pit road. Let's see the times. 1:59.2 from both Viperian and McLaren team. The best lap was 59.1 from Viperian on the previous lap. Now we're gonna wait on the timing tower and see what Maestro is doing. 59.4 from Gunses, who is also yet to stop. 2 minutes flat by Neon Tiger. Saltseeder will be the last car to not stop. 23 seconds down on Neon and 10 seconds in front of Maestro, so I'm gonna keep an eye on that. Trampel off the track and spun. That's the cold tires as he's trying to regain control. That would be before the kink. That's a weird place to lose the car, I gotta be honest. So something interesting happening on cold tire. 58.6. Maestro is half a second faster this lap than both leaders, with a new fastest lap of a race. That is the cue for everyone. If you have to pit, you gotta pit yesterday. That new tire compound is clearly working, and both leaders need to recognize that. A blistering time from 0:37. And it's a long lap, so between they realize what's going on and them taking possible action, it's still at least a minute of time, which 0:37 will spend closing the gap down. Under halfway to go, and we are gonna be seeing some interesting tactical decisions at the end of this lap by both leaders, Viperian and McLaren team. 1 second between them, and 0:37 after that pit stop, just flying towards them. Let's see, they're navigating the final turn of a track. Exiting on the start-finish straight. The pit road is on to the right. McLaren team recognizes it and dives onto the pit lane. 71 in the pits, and this is gonna be the battle with Maestro. We're gonna switch to Maestro for this. We're gonna go full on board with an Audi and gonna be tracking the pit marker of McLaren team. Team should emerge in front, but on cold tires. So whatever Maestro spent warming his tires up, McLaren team is gonna spend the same amount, but Maestro already closed in. So that is gonna be interesting. How fast is gonna be Tim at the exit? He's still in the pit lane. Start finish for Maestro. Where is Tim? Still marked as pit lane. We are waiting for him to emerge. He doesn't emerge. That's Maestro solid clear. The base is so far up that McLaren team rejoins behind on cold tires. 3.4 seconds back. That is insane. Maestro setting a blister in 15.4. And absolutely annihilating that gap. The Russian might have played his pit stop card perfectly. Now this is troublesome for Viperian now. He has to pit, but now he might be emerging in third. If he does pit, he'll have to do it now, I believe. Otherwise, McLaren team on new tires. We've already seen what these new tires can do. And again, we didn't see the stop itself of McLaren team. If there was a mistake, Viperian might be safe. But let's see if the Mercedes peels off to the pit road now. He does. The leader is stopping now. Gunses assumes the lead of the race. Viperian is on the pit lane. A little bit of track excursion for Neon Tiger. Gunses follows Viperian on the pit lane as well. So everybody realizing the new tires might be the thing in this race. So it's gonna be Neon Tiger and Saltseeder coming through next. Saltseeder almost caught up by Maestro already. It's a long pit road. Don't forget. Neon Tiger in the pits as well. Everybody be pitting. Everybody's seen the times. And it's a perfect stop by Viperian. So now we are looking at Maestro exiting the start-finish straight. Saltseeder peels off into the pit lane as well. So no competition for him out of the start-finish straight. Let's see where the leaders are. Maestro crosses the line. Viperian is in the pits. Viperian just rejoins. So you see how massive of an advantage Maestro has. Gunses rejoins behind of Tim. Viperian is in front, but he's on cold tires. Now, Tim needs to attack as fast as he can. He has about half a lap to beat Viperian to the second place while the tires are still cold. It looks like Tim's tires are cold as well. He's wiggling all over the place. Coming in towards turn 5 with Maestro solid in the lead. 4-second gap already. Setting blistering lap times. A little bit missed by Viperian there side by side with McLaren team. Tim on the inside. Will he be able to outbrake his opponent? And he does. Tim has passed Viperian for second place. The battle is not over yet. Battle is anything but over for these two. Remember that Viperian was able to maintain the gap all the time. He's not somebody who ended up in front just because of carnage and was holding on for dear life. He was there on pace. So now with him and his warm tires fully behind McLaren Tim, we can expect him to bring the battle right to the Lamborghini. 3.2 back is Gunses. Saltseeder and Trampel ended up right at the same part of the track after the former's issues. So that's the two McDonald's cars fighting amongst themselves. Maestro keeps churning out insane laps. Now he's 4 seconds clear of Tim. That is actually an insane strategy by the Rocket Ballista driver. How did it work out for him that well? I'm not sure how the math works, but it does. 59.1 from Maestro, 59.5 from McLaren team, another 4 tenths gained with 13 minutes to go. Viperian 0.6 back, but he should have his tires settled in right about now, so he can start pushing and trying to fight back. 13.5 minutes to go, plus 1 lap. Looks like Gunses is not too far away, 3 seconds back, so he got a little bit closer. And with our pit cycle complete, I believe it's as good time as any to go on board with our lovely Mercedes car that we haven't seen before as it was leading. Now we can see it's on board and it's time to go to Pure Sound. And we rejoined back, and the commentator's curse is sadly alive and well. As soon as we went to Pure Sound with the onboard of a Mercedes, it overcooked, I believe it was the carousel, and let Gunses through, and now finds himself in 4th place, chasing down the other PRT Rocket Ballista. Unfortunate for the Kiwi, but still podium is within reach. Speaking of within reach, the 2 McDonald's Porsches going side by side into turn 5, hard on the brakes, the Saltseeder, and gains the position. Framed automotive drivers squabbling amongst themselves with an entertaining battle of their own. Miles behind the pack, but it does not stop either of them. 16 in front of a 17 now. Saltseeder with a couple of bonus points to his name right now. Let's see how this battle proceeds further on. They still have 10 minutes plus 1 lap to figure out who is faster. Trampel seems to be a little bit hurting after the damage and the spin sustained early in the race. I wonder if it's some long lingering problems. 58.6 from McLaren team, who's trying now to chase down Maestro. 58.9 from Gunses, 59.1 from Viperian. So Gunses is picking up the pace too. Still 4 seconds between the leaders. Viperian with more creative lines. Something tells me we might have a steward sat in front of every single stationary camera and look at these naughty drivers. So we might see things change as a result of the investigations, but as for now, Maestro is on top with McLaren team 4 seconds back. Gunses 4 further seconds back, and he is, as we can see on the camera, being chased by the Kiwi Viperian, who won the previous race, which was his first win in Phoenix World Championship and his first win in solo PRC efforts. Definitely one of the best couple of weekends for the Kiwi. And he's missing the corner just once again. Looks like he might have overcooked the tires a little bit, even if they're brand new. We'll see how he continues. But yes, he was in the battle for the podium and finished third twice in the support series, which was happening last week on this very track. And now he won the first race and is still in a battle for the podium position in race number 2. So whatever Road America has to offer, Viperian definitely likes. 7 cars continue on the track. A couple of close battles, but everything else seems to be going further apart rather than closing back in. 58.2, the new fastest lap of a race by Maestro, who decided that he wanted to drive real fast after the pit stop. Absolutely spectacular undercut by the Russian, who managed to get a 4-second gap, and since then he only increased it over McLaren team, who finds himself once again in second place. Once again, unable to do anything about the car in front of him. At the start, it was Viperian. Now, it's Maestro. Seems like the Lamborghini is not destined to win at Road America unless another commentator's curse happens, which we've seen is alive and well. Viperian closing back in a little bit on Gunses. The gap is down to 1.3, maybe a little bit of a mistake out of turn 3. It was over 2 seconds at the end of a previous lap. So once again, it's not over yet. It's not over till it's over, as we've seen in Le Mans just a few hours ago. Let's just slap a 41 on Gunses and see how that works out for him. Or just let Kubica drive it. Apparently that's an ultimate sign of failure. Under 1 second between them, so whatever Gunses has is not exactly working, since Viperian managed to remove half of the gap in just 1 lap. So let's see how that continues. That Audi has to pick up the pace. He's definitely losing out to McLaren Tim rather than Viperian gaining, since Tim himself is now 5 seconds back of Maestro, but 5.5 seconds in front of Gunses. 6 more minutes to go until the end of race 2 and another weekend in Phoenix World Championship. The cars continue and complete lap number 17. And this time around, you see the difference. 58.5 by Viperian against 59.4 by Gunses. Seems like Viperian figured out the fast pace of the new tires. I was about to say, let's do a short break. We got ourselves 2 pure sounds per race. Let's use the second one, but let's actually look at the Audi this time. Just gotta make it fair for the Jinx. And let's go to pure sound. 3.5 laps to go. Sorry, 3.5 minutes to go. And the headlights of a Mercedes looming large in the mirrors of an Audi. 1 second between them, and both of them are driving the hell out of their vehicles. Not faultless drives, as both of them did a 59.6 laps the last time, so definitely both drivers making mistakes, trying to go as fast as possible. The question of the day is going to be who makes the fewest. So far the gap is 0.7 of a second between third and fourth. This is the battle for the podium. Trempel is in the pits, and it looks like the damage has not been thoroughly fixed that he sustained before visiting the pits for the first time, so it might be another retirement for car 17. He will get classified with just a couple of laps to go. But he drops to 7th firmly and will not rise from it. We continue watching the battle for third. It looks like the leaders settle down and continue with their pace, but with 2 minutes to go, the third step of the podium is not decided. 0.4. Viperian pushing for a hard and good lap, but it's gonna be difficult for Mercedes to stay close to an Audi. Mercedes is a heavier and chunkier car, so the dirty air will affect it a little bit more. Then again, with the engine power, 158.299, which is just 0.02 of a second slower than the absolute fast lap. The Kiwi is flying, and now all over the gearbox of an Audi. It's all kicking off. The straight line speed of a Mercedes is almost unparalleled, maybe by Ferrari, who's no longer in the race. So they will have an advantage in the toe, closing the gap, and on the brakes try to outpace the Audi. So Gunses is holding on for dear life as the clock is ticking down mercilessly. 0.6 of a second. Trempel is officially marked as the second DNF of the race, leaving us with 6 entries. Half a second. I'm being called out by our race director and the guy who knows the technical details. I do not care in the slightest. It's the chunk, and I will maintain it's a chunk. 0.5 of a seconds between the third and the fourth. Last minute of a race. Once the clock strikes 0, we'll need 1 more lap before the end of the race. Maestro is gonna cross the finish line relatively soon, so I'm gonna say it's 2 more laps for this duo. Gonna keep an eye out. It might be relatively close for the leader, but I think even this duo will make it to the end with a couple seconds to spare, so leader will definitely be there by that time. 15 seconds on the clock. In the last corner is the battle for third with 10 seconds. Master crosses the line with 59.0, so 2 more laps and 1 second between them. Definitely a good lap by Gunses, who's pushing back and try to stay. 58.9, which is the personal fastest lap. 59.5 from Viperian. He made a mistake and is currently being made to pay for it. Very fast at Kiwi, but not the most stable of performances. So if he manages to get a couple of 58.2s from underneath his belt, he's gonna be right there at the end. It's definitely still not done. 1 mistake in the corner, and it might be a battle all over again. Viperian lost that third spot by his mistake. I'm not quite sure where, but I think it was the carousel where he touched the gravel and went wide, rejoining the track behind Gunses. He was a couple seconds back. He managed to claw within a striking distance. 0.8 of a seconds now. Viperian needs to string a couple of great laps together at the end of a race. Everything he has, everything he can get out of this car. I believe the team manager of PRT might be sweating bullets right now, as 2 cars of his, all from different cars, Although from different cars, different teams, it's still a Phoenix Racing Team entry. So if they crash into each other, hoo-wee, that might be interesting. I would want to buy a ticket for that debrief, but right now it's not going to how I said it's gonna go. Still a second between them, as they're gonna take white flag this time by. The leader 59.2, one more lap. McLaren team behind them 59.2, and now this duo with 1 second between them 59.1, 59 flat. We know Viperion is capable of 58.2. That would not bring him close enough if Gunsis does another 59 flat. So definitely he needs to push and wait for a mistake. 0.7. This is definitely a better part of a racetrack for Viperion. 58.8 from Neon Tiger, who seems to be settled in for 5th. But as we watch this battle, we go on board for the final lap. Last time we did it, Viperion missed the corner. Let's hope it does not happen again, or he might actually come and murder me once their borders open. Chasing down the Latvian for the podium place. Through the second sector, right-hander now, a little bit of a lift, continuing on. 0.7 between them. The left-hander hard-braking, maximize the exit, and now through Speedfield Bridge into the carousel. Gotta maintain the speed as high as you can without drifting too wide. The tires are not what they were at the start of a race. It's kind of difficult to do. Now into the right-hand kink. Going full beans. Not quite, but close enough. And now Canada corner, the right-hander. The last heavy braking zone on the track. Hard and far send from Viperion. He's close enough. But a little bit of a better exit from Gunsis as they're gonna navigate to the final corner of the track. It's gonna be a hard send. No, Gunsis stays in front. His teammate Maestro Ponchik wins the race in a beautiful fashion. McLaren team is gonna finish second, but for the third place, Viperion comes just shy of the podium. Third place for the Latvian Gunsis, fourth place for Viperion. And fifth is gonna be Neon Tiger, sixth Saltcedar, and absolutely beautiful performance by this driver. Maestro of the car 037. Flawless pit strategy. He dove in first, he got the new rubber, and it was exceptionally fast. 4-second undercut on everybody and their mother. He emerges in the clean air and never lets the lead go. Beautiful, beautiful performance and a well-deserved win. Okay, now let's see if anybody is willing to talk to us this wonderful day. Let's see. Let's see. Let's grab this guy and see if he wants to talk to us. That would be the winner of race number 2. Maestro, do you hear us?
Yes.
So that undercut, absolutely insane. Did you have it planned? Did you have it calculated, or just winged it and ended up on the right side of it?
Well, I couldn't overtake Viperion because he was, I just couldn't overtake him. Couldn't make a move. And I was pressured by team. Yes, by team. And I decided, fuck this shit, I'm gonna go and drive on my own pace. And turns out my own pace was good enough to make an undercut.
It was definitely a solid undercut. We've seen people not struggling as much as usual with the tires. Did the track help warm them up quicker than usual?
Can't say I had any issues with the tires so far.
Alright.
I think it was fine.
Okay, and in the first race it was a little bit of a train throughout, and you had a little bit of an adventure with a team in the race. Did you kind of grow in pace between 2 races, or just the less stiff competition and clean air help you just go faster than in the first race?
I think I got more practice from first race. I kinda got used to how to drive it. I'm not that good at Road America usually, and so I needed more time to like get used to it. And after race 1, I understood what I'm doing wrong and what I need to do to get faster times. And I think I got faster times on average. I'm not sure, but it felt like that.
You definitely got the fastest lap of race 2 with 1:15.2, I believe. So that is definitely a rapid pace. Well, congratulations with the second race win and solid weekend, and see you next race.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Alright, let's hear it from the other side of this battle. McLaren Dim, do you hear us in the booth?
Yeah, hey Georgian.
So, interesting weekend for you, which was spent almost entirely looking at someone else's rear bumper. In the first race, Viperion made sure to not let anybody through. The second race, though, it's what I want to talk about. Did you know about the strength of the undercut, and did you react to the times Maestro was doing?
Yeah, I reacted to Maestro's times. I was hoping to stay out a little bit longer, but yeah, I don't know. This car changes balance real bad as the tire wear gets on, because the rear tires wear really heavily. So I made the car like kind of more understeery to anticipate going longer in the first stint and to counter the oversteer that the tire wear gives it. But yeah, I don't know. I had a really bad pit stop. I had to reverse. It wasn't so bad, but then I went off on the outlap as well. But then, yeah, I was surprised to catch up to Viperion despite those problems. I think he mentioned that his tires were not to the correct temperature or car balance or something. But yeah, then he went wide, so it was free real estate. But then, yeah, after that, I think he had another off. So
speaking of tires, at the end of the first race, we've seen quite a few drivers wiggling on the corner exit. Was the tire consumption at tire wear that bad that basically at the end of 20 laps the cars were starting to struggle?
I mean, it wasn't so bad. It was just like the rear tires wear so much more than the front ones, so the balance like moves around, and so you have to drive it differently, and then that's just annoying because in these cars it just means that it oversteers more as the tires go on. So I don't know. I bet there's a way to balance it out correctly, but yeah, it's just, I mean, the tires are fine. I think it's not so bad. It's just we have to deal with it.
So with the next track being, I believe, Assen, completely different kind. It's still a fast track, but now with more sweeping turns throughout. Would you feel your car would be better set up for the faster and flowing type of track than Road America?
I mean, I don't know. At this point, it doesn't really matter if I'm just gonna get dunked on every straight. So, yeah. I was hoping, I don't know. It's weird that like the ballast is bringing me back into the pack and I get to race more, which is great. But at the same time, it's like I can't race because like it's either just defending or getting passed on the straight. So it's not much I can do. But good racing overall today, not to put a damper on things.
It was definitely a close fighting pack, and good luck in the next weekend. Definitely be interesting to see, because a little bit less restrictive for you based on lack of winning today.
Great. Great. All right. Yeah. Thanks again, Georgian, for the broadcast.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Alright, let's see if this guy wants to talk to us, or if he's gonna keep his mic muted. Hello, Gunsis.
Hello.
So, an interesting weekend for you. It started a little bit unluckily in the first race. Not really up to pace with the first bunch. Just trying to chase them down. Second race, though, a little bit of mistake from Viperian, and then we've seen both you and Viperian being very inconsistent in lap times as you were trying to chase each other down. What would be the reason for that?
Yeah, I think in the second race it was just down to making small mistakes that easily cost a tenth or two, and that's why we had such inconsistent lines or lap times even. So yeah, but his mistake was that he went off in the carousel, and I almost collected him, but I managed to sneak by and then get the podium.
Yeah, we definitely saw the rejoin from in-car perspective of Viperian, though I'm not quite sure how close that was from your point of view.
It felt very close. I noticed that he was on the outside, and I thought that the inside will be fine. And then I just saw that he was going across the track closer and closer to me, so I just did some evasive maneuvers. Half car was on the grass, but it wasn't too bad.
Alright, well, ask Tim that question, but next track, TT Assen, another relatively fast track, but the flow is completely different to Road America. Do you feel you're going to be more comfortable on this track or the next one?
It will be interesting to see, since the car can be a little bit understeery if not set up correctly, and even more oversteery if you shift it incorrectly. So it will be interesting, since Assen does have some fast corners in there.
Well, alright, congratulations for a fun weekend, and see you next race.
See you next race.
Alright, and I believe that is gonna be it for us for today. A couple of beautiful races, a brand new race winner, and fight all the way through. This is what Phoenix World Championship is all about. The field might be small, but it is damn feisty. Next time we're gonna be coming to you live from TTS, and hopefully. But until then, thank you all so very much for watching. And from the entire PRC crew, this is goodbye.